Welcome to Mrs. Hall's Art Room. I'm Mrs. Hall, and today is week 1 of virtual art. This week we are going to draw a nutcracker, and next week we are going to color our nutcracker. Before I get started with the directions on how to make our nutcracker, I would like to talk to you about symmetry. Symmetry is when an object is the same on both sides. If you look at my example of a nutcracker, you will see that the nutcracker has an eye on both sides, half of a nose, half of a mustache, half of a mouth. And if you look at the design on the nutcracker's body, you will notice that there's the same pattern on both the right side and the left side of the nutcracker's body. This is an example of symmetry. Some other examples of symmetry that you are familiar with, or you might be familiar with, is drawing a portrait. When you draw a portrait of a person, that's the same as the face of the nutcracker. You have an eye and an ear on both sides of the head, and half of the nose and half of the mouth. This is another example of symmetry. And some everyday objects or images that you are familiar with when you're driving around. I have an example of a McDonald's M and a Target bullseye. If I folded this in half, it would be the same on both sides of my piece of paper. This is another example of symmetry. Some shapes are examples of symmetry. Hearts and stars and circles and squares and triangles are all symmetrical shapes. A butterfly is also an example of symmetry. The pattern and the wings are the same on both sides. Some Christmas or holiday objects or winter objects that show symmetry are a Christmas tree and a Christmas ornament. A snowman and a snowflake are also examples of symmetry. We are going to use symmetry on our art project. We're going to start drawing today. So today you will need a pencil and you will need a black marker for outlining. I love to use Sharpies. If you don't have a Sharpie at home, you could use any black marker of your choice. When adding color, you could color with crayons when you're making your nutcracker. If you have markers at your house, you can use markers. If you have paint, you can use paint. If you have oil pastels, you could use oil pastels. If you have anything else that you want to bedazzle or bling your nutcracker, maybe you have some jewels or some sequins that you would like to add, you're more than welcome to use your imagination and creativity and add extra things. Today we're going to draw, and after we draw our nutcracker, we're going to stop, and then we're going to wait for week 2 on how we're going to add color and how we're going to add extra materials. So find your art journals or a piece of paper or canvas, whatever you would like to draw with, and get ready to draw a nutcracker with me. Today we're going to draw a nutcracker. You will need to get your paper, a pencil, and a black marker so you can outline your nutcracker. I have 8 directions for you to follow. First, you're going to draw 2 lines, then you're going to draw a crown, the head and the body, then you're going to draw the face and the arms. The 5th step, you're going to draw more details on the face, like the eyes and the eyebrows. Step number 6, you will draw the design on the clothes and the hair. Step number 7, you're going to continue to add more designs and details to your nutcracker. And then finally, step number 8, you're going to add color, and then you can add any other details you would like to add. When you are drawing your nutcracker, consider that a nutcracker is a holiday figure that is used in a lot of different houses across the whole world for different celebrations. There are nutcrackers that are for Kwanzaa, and Kwanzaa this year starts on December 26th. There are nutcrackers that people use to decorate their houses for Hanukkah. Hanukkah this year is December 10th through December 18th. A lot of people collect nutcrackers for Christmas. Christmas is December 25th. There are nutcrackers that are used for different cultures. Here's an example of a German nutcracker. Here's an example of a Mexican nutcracker. I also have an example of an Ireland nutcracker and an example of an Italian nutcracker. Nutcrackers can be boy nutcrackers, or nutcrackers can be girl nutcrackers. So you'll have to decide what kind of nutcracker you want to draw, what kind of hat you would like to put on your nutcracker, and what kind of hair you would like to put on your nutcracker. So get your art journals and your paper ready, and let's get started on making a nutcracker. All right, let's get started drawing our nutcracker. You're going to need to get a pencil, a black marker, and your paper, either your art journal or any paper that you can find at your house. Step number 1, I'm going to draw 2 lines. First thing I'm going to draw is a shorter line. This is going to be for the top of the head. And the second line is a little bit longer. That's going to be for the bottom of the head or the top of the shirt. Step number 2, you're going to draw a hat or a crown for your nutcracker. You can make it like a crown with triangle shapes or zigzags. If that's too hard for you, maybe kindergarten or first grade would like to make a top hat like this example. That might be much easier. You decide what kind of hat you would like to draw. I'm going to make a top hat, so I'm going to draw a line like this, straight across. I'm going to make a skinny rectangle. Now I'm going to make the top of a hat a larger rectangle. That top of your hat can go to the very top of your paper if you don't want to draw that line that goes straight across right there. Step number 3, I'm going to draw the face. I'm going to draw a curved line. And then I'm going to go right below where the hat ends and draw another curved line for the head. And then I'm going to draw the shirt. I'm going to make this line just a little bit shorter. I think that will look better for my nutcracker. You decide how long you want that to go. I'm going to draw this line all the way to the bottom of my paper. I'm going to draw another side. Now this is an example of symmetry. If I was to draw a line right across my paper, it would be the same on this side as it is on this side. That's an example of symmetry. At your house, if you wanted to draw half of the nutcracker, you wanted to fold your paper in half. Let me get another piece of paper and show you what I mean. You could take a piece of paper and fold it in half, and you could draw a short line and a long line, and you could draw half of the hat and the head and the shoulders, and then you could flip it over and trace it. But you might want to draw half of it, outline it in black marker, and then flip it over and trace it. So 5th graders, you might like to do that to yours so everything is completely symmetrical. Step number 4, I'm going to draw the shoulders. I'm actually going to draw my arm all the way to the edge of the paper because I have a little bit of room. I'm going to draw my shoulders. So I'm changing the directions a little bit. You're more than welcome to do that. You don't have to draw it exactly like these 8 steps that I have provided for you. Step number 4, I'm going to draw a nose. I'm going to draw a short line and a little bit longer line, and then I'm going to connect the lines. I'm going to draw the eyes. You can draw a little curved line to start on the top of the eye, or might even be easier for you, kindergarten and first grade, to draw a short line and then a letter U and upper L. If you like that, you can do it like that. Now the mustache is a little bit tricky. I'm going to just put a little dot right below the eye, and then I'm going to draw a shape that looks like this. That might be an easy way to start the mouth. If you have a scrap piece of paper and a pair of scissors, and you want to fold a scrap piece of paper in half, and you want to take a pencil and you want to draw half of a mustache, that shape looks to me like the flame of a candle. And you could take a pair of scissors and cut that out This would be another example of symmetry. And then I could open that up, and then I would have a mustache that I could trace, and then that mustache would be the same on both sides. I could even do that for my eyes. I could cut out an eye like this, and then I could have two eyes that were the same size. All right, and that would be another example of symmetry. So if you're in 4th or 5th grade and you want to have your eyes the same, then you might want to do some cutting. So that's something for you to think about. All right, so I'm done with step number 4, and now it's time for step number 5. I could add some little cheeks. If you want your cheeks to be the same size, you could take a pair of scissors and cut out a circle and trace it. And now I'm ready to make the colored part of the eyes, which next week when we add the color, I could color that green or blue or brown. I could add some eyelashes or eyebrows. So I'm just going to draw a straight line or a little bit curved line and maybe make some fluffy eyebrows. You could make that line straight. Use your imagination, students, and you can add eyebrows and eyelashes and make them look however you want. I made them different than these directions right here. I'm going to add the mouth. I'm going to add a straight line and a straight line and connect that. And then this line right here separates the top teeth from the bottom teeth. So I'm going to draw the teeth like that. Now the Nutcracker has been around for a very, very long time. It's been around for more than 100 years, and a lot of families have nutcrackers in their house. And they decorate their house with nutcrackers for the holidays. So the next thing I'm going to do is draw a beard. If you're drawing a girl nutcracker, then you're definitely not going to have a beard in your picture, but I'm going to make mine a boy. I don't have to make my beard like that. I'm going to make mine a little bit rounded. I'm going to just draw some letter U shapes all the way around. If you want to add this design at the end, you can. I'm not going to on this one. I'm just going to draw a belt. I'm going to draw 2 lines like that and a rectangle inside. This is very easy. Everybody can do this. I'm going to add some circles. If I have 2 circles on this side and this nutcracker is symmetrical, I must have 2 circles on that side. If I draw 3 circles on this side of my nutcracker's uniform, I have to have 3 circles on this side. This is an example of symmetry. If I draw 1 line here, I have to have 1 line here. If I draw 1 line on each side, then that would be symmetrical. If I start drawing 2 lines on each side, then I have to continue to draw 2 lines to make that symmetrical. After you design the jacket on the nutcracker, then you want to design the sleeves of the nutcracker. Think of a design that you might like to draw. If I add 2 little buttons right here, then I need 2 little buttons over here. I'm going to put a buckle on the hat. Draw a square or a rectangle with a smaller one on the inside, and then connect with 2 lines at the end of the hat. If you want to add a candy cane or holly or some other kind of detail, you could do that. After you're happy with your nutcracker, the next step is to outline it in a black marker. When we outline with black marker, you can always see your picture so much better. See how much easier it is to see the black line. Do your best job outlining and go on top of your pencil lines. I know we get out of the lines when we outline. So the next step after we outline is to take your eraser and then erase everything. It's really important that we take our time and we make our artwork look nice and neat. We don't want to rush, because rushing is sloppy. And when you do artwork with Mrs. Hall, you want to make sure that your art is nice and neat and you're taking your time, using your imagination, being really creative. So I'm taking my time outlining. So the end of week 1's lesson is going to be outlining. And then next week when you tune in, I'll have my art video ready on Monday. Next week when you tune in, I will give you all of the directions on how we're going to add color. Like all artists, you need to make sure that your name is on your paper. After you put your name on your paper, just like we do at school, you can put your teacher's initial. If you would also like to put the date on your artwork, you can put the date on your artwork. That way you'll remember when you made it. All right, give me a minute and I'm going to continue to outline, and then after I outline, then I'm going to start to erase. So stay tuned. All right, did I get everything outlined? I'm going to take my eraser and now I'm going to erase. Earlier I was talking to you about how you could draw your half of your nutcracker and then outline it. And then you could make it symmetrical. If you fold your paper in half, then you can draw it in pencil. And then you can take your pencil and you can trace it. If you cannot see it well, a trick that I learned is if you hold it up to a window, then you'll be able to see it a lot better and let the light shine through the window. So some of you might want to try this trick for making your nutcracker. And then you have the same on both sides, and that's an example of symmetry. If you want to make a girl nutcracker, here's an example of a girl nutcracker. You could draw it in pencil and then outline it. And then here's another example. At the conclusion of week 1's art lesson, you should have your nutcracker outlined in black marker. So next week, you'll be all ready to add color. Have a great week. Bye.